What causes a car to crank but not start, and then magically work the next day? Ah, the mysteries of the automobile, a beast as fickle as it is vital to our daily lives. You turn the key, expecting the familiar hum of the engine, but are greeted with the frustrating crank with no start. Then, like a bad date making amends with a bouquet the next day, the car decides to start. What gives? Here's the truth. There are quite a few possible culprits behind this issue. First, let's consider the fuel system. If your car is cranking but not starting, there might be an issue with the fuel delivery or pressure. It could be a clogged fuel filter, a dying fuel pump, or contaminated fuel. Maybe it takes a night of sitting for the blockage to clear, or the fuel pressure to build back up. Next up is the spark, or should I say, the lack thereof. For an engine to start, you need a good spark to ignite the fuel. A crack in the ignition coil, worn-out spark plugs, or any number of issues in the ignition system might prevent the car from starting one day, only to seemingly resolve spontaneously the next. And don't forget the battery and charging system. A weak battery can turn the engine over but not have enough juice to start it up. Maybe it's on the brink of failure, and the temperature drop overnight gives it just enough of a reprieve to work once more. Alternatively, a flaky starter motor might work intermittently. Then there's the possibility of a sensor or computer issue. Modern cars are riddled with sensors and run by computers. A faulty temperature sensor, crankshaft position sensor, or even a troubled ECU, that's the car's main computer for those not in the know, can lead to a no-start condition that magically fixes itself. Living in Portland, Oregon, where the weather can be moody, another consideration comes into play: the effects of temperature and moisture. Sudden changes in temperature can affect battery performance or create condensation in the fuel lines or electrical components. Letting it sleep it off might just be the unintended remedy. Regardless, intermittent problems like these are like the villains in horror movies. They often come back when you least expect them. My advice? Get it to a mechanic for a proper diagnosis. The last thing you want is to be stranded when your car decides it's not in the mood to start. In the end, understanding the why is key to avoiding the silence that follows the hopeful turn of a key. Auto care isn't all about oil changes and tire rotations. It's also playing detective when your car decides to ghost you. Better to crack the case before you're left with just the lonely sound of cranking in the morning.